Shame and fear might be the biggest blockers on your healing journey and you don't even know it. And that's because shame and fear have a very strong tendency to be subtle, to be somewhat hard to grasp. They have this airy tendency of, I don't even know that I'm afraid of myself. I don't even know that I'm ashamed of myself. But still, it's like a conductor is pulling your strings and you're not even aware of it. So in this video, we're going to talk about these two emotions and how they play into the theme of emotional suppression and what you can do in order to find relief and to get in a closer relationship to yourself. Because that's actually what shame does. Shame is cutting off the relationship. Shame is an anti-feeling, anti-relating emotion. So shame is a kind of relationship that we have towards ourselves. Shame is coloring the way we see ourselves. Shame is coloring the way we look at the world, we look at ourselves. So you could say that shame makes you mistaking, like doing a mistake for being a mistake. It's a generalizing emotion. It's a generalizing thought pattern that fundamentally always goes back to the same point. And that point is, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it. I'm a fundamentally flawed and bad human being. And therefore, everything that I experience, everything that I think, everything that I feel is flawed. So when you think about that, and when you feel into someone that thinks like, oh, I'm a fundamental mistake, I shouldn't even be here. What most people do then is they compensate for the shame. They compensate for the shame through trying to be someone. They are forging an identity that is a compensation for the thought that I am not good enough. I am no one, so I need to become someone. And in becoming someone, a false self is being built. An identity that is fundamentally not yours, but that is a reaction to a belief system that needs to be looked at. And that's exactly what we want to do in this video. So shame is a way of relating. It's a pair of glasses that you have on your nose. And what that does, it's creating a black and white kind of thinking style, an either or kind of thinking style, especially when it comes to the relationship to ourselves. So I'm either acceptable and or unacceptable. So these two extremes are where we're like, where the pendulum is swinging. I'm either a terrible person or I'm a good person. And there you can see that it's a very low resolution way of thinking. It has no nuances. It's like you're watching a YouTube video and the image is like all blurry. You can't really see clearly. It's either good or bad. But all the nuances, all the layers of truth that are in the relationship to yourself are covered by shame to fit into these two very narrow patterns. It's almost like you're crossing a swamp. So what shame does is it's sucking in. It's sucking in the nuances. It's sucking in the feeling. It's sucking in the joy. And it's creating a numbness instead. So everything that you are is getting sucked in through the current of shame, through the swamp of shame. And all that you see is a body that is drowning and drowning in shame until only the head is sticking out and you're cut off from your body. Why? Because this is not good. This has been put into the box of I'm fundamentally flawed. So of course, in consequence, you are deciding to not feel that. It's not good. My anger is not good. Even my joy is not good. Everything is bad about me. And what we do then is we cover up our authentic expression. So what is drowning there is authenticity. Because let's say I feel a feeling of sadness and I feel ashamed for that sadness. What I do then is I act as if the sadness is not there. I act as if the relationship to the sadness is not present, because that's what shame does. It's cutting off the cord between me and the feeling. Or let's say, for example, I have a dream. I have something that I want to pursue. I want to build a meaningful life for myself, and I know exactly how it looks like, but there's shame on top of it. What I do then is I cut off the relationship to that dream. And the dream is drowning in the swamp. And then I wonder why everything that is left is emotional numbness. Why everything that is left is an existence that feels like half incarnated. A body that feels tense. Thought patterns that are looping and negativity. We want to radically unshame ourselves. And in the later part of that video, we're going to find out how exactly that works. And words, because words are really important there, because words are, it's the thought patterns, it's the way we think about ourselves, the way we use our words. That's like the substance of shame. I'm not good. I don't deserve this. Like the words, the thoughts, these patterns are the walls that are being built between me and the feeling. That's also why shame is really hard to grasp somatically. Like it's hard to really tell when you're ashamed. It's more like a posture. It's more like eyes that are looking down. It's like a body that has collapsed, and it's like, yeah, I just feel hopeless. I just can't do it. A feeling of like existential loneliness, because what we're cut off from is our aliveness, is our own company, sort of. And what has replaced that company is our inner critic, is that identity that we're forging that is not really ours. So let's continue with fear, because fear is closely interlinked with shame. Fear is the fundamental protective contraction of our body. Like if you're tense, if you're suppressing an emotion, that is usually fear. And what are we doing when we suppress an emotion out of fear, or when we are afraid in the first place? We are relating to something as if it was dangerous. And in some situations, that is life-preserving. If a tiger would now appear behind the camera and I would feel fear, I would relate to the tiger as if it was dangerous, I would of course be correct and I would start running. But the thing is that our nervous systems, when we are like in chronic tension and a chronic fear response, it doesn't differentiate between there being it doesn't know if there's a tiger or if there's just empty space. In my case, there's like a nice garden behind there, but I could still feel like life is threatening. My emotions are threatening. Maybe I feel a sadness within me, and I've learned that when I feel sadness, I'm being threatened. Maybe somebody yelled at me for being angry. Maybe someone left me alone or shamed me when I felt guilt. Something like that. So we are associating the emotions, a certain aspect of our experience, with the fear. And what happens then is we are numbing that very part of our existence. And that is essentially what tension is. Tension in the body is a numbing mechanism. Like, let's say you feel tension in your body. No, you can even take a small moment. Like maybe you feel tension in your body as you're listening to me somewhere. I have a slight tension in my neck, for example. And if you really feel into it, what is the tension? How do you know the tension is there? It is through a reduced feeling. Like it's almost like the volume knob of your ability to feel that part of your body has been turned down. And the music this part of your body is normally playing is very, very dampened, and you can almost not hear it. Like, what's going on there? It's numbness. So fear is like numbness is a consequence of fear. And we can look at that even in parts language, because if we say that we numb parts of ourselves, we numb certain emotions because we think that it's like important for our survival to numb these emotions, then we can almost look at it as a part of us that is doing that. It's not our entire being that decides to numb our body. It's a certain part of us that has been fragmented and became a part that serves as a protector, that serves as a guard, and is standing in front of the emotion and saying, no, you can't go any further. I'm here to protect you from that. That's also fundamentally what triggers are. And you can watch one of the last videos where I talked about triggers. I talked about dissociation. This is roughly the same thing. Like numbness and dissociation live in the same street. They play in the same band. It's like the same frequency of living. So shame and fear are tightly interwoven. They are both guards of something that wants to be preserved. And if you imagine how is a guard that is protecting something acting, it's usually displaying a certain degree of aggression and says, like, don't take a step further because I am going to attack you. Why is it saying that? Because there's something worth preserving behind him that he doesn't want you to touch. Because that protecting part that is standing there and says you can't enter here has learned that when somebody enters and gets to that part, gets to the sadness, for example, or the anger, something bad is happening. Just in very general, something bad is going to happen, like a generalized fear, nothing specific. Like that part, and also if like the feeling of shame and the feeling of fear, and especially anxiety, it's very unspecific. You just know that you're bad somehow. You just know that you're somehow good in other moments, maybe when you performed well or when you have a moment where your nervous system is relaxed. It's very unspecific, very subtle. So something bad is going to happen. What can we do in order to work with the shame and the fear response? How can we unshame ourselves? So this is a process that is not to be done like it takes a while. You can't do these things overnight, because when you're working with chronic fear and like toxic shame, these are belief systems that have been imprinted within you throughout a very long time. So the healing of that takes a very long time. And these imprints happened in the relationship to a caretaker, maybe in your teenage years, or maybe in the recent past where you felt like deeply, deeply uncomfortable. And at the deep feeling that you are not okay the way you are. And because these wounds are created through a certain taste of relationship, they can only be healed through a very certain frequency of relationship. So instead of relating to the numbness in your body with a closed heart, because that's the relationship that it knows, you need to learn to open yourself up. You need to learn to truly accept yourself. And that's easier said than done. And I'm gonna give a quick rundown about how exactly that's done, because it sounds so cliche. Just love yourself. How are you supposed to love yourself after years, maybe decades of internalized toxic shame, a heavy inner critic? It's through relationship. And a relationship starts with noticing. A relationship can start forming if I start differentiating myself, my witnessing presence, from my experience. So the first step is to notice. To notice that you are in a shaming thought pattern, for example. To notice that you are projecting negativity all around. To notice, and then to step back and take a moment to inquire. Really, as I'm doing now, I'm sort of leaning back, because it's not about action, it's not about doing something, it's not about reacting to the shame. It's about leaning back into your chair. Not asking yourself, how can I heal this? Not asking yourself, what are the next steps? The question is, how do you relate to what's present in your body? And from then on, you can acquire. Do you maybe feel that I feel like this present moment or this thing that just happened, I feel really, really terrible. How do you relate to the thought that you are terrible? To that part that thinks that believes that? Oh, I feel a bit more open towards that part. Like it must suffer a lot, actually. Wow. And from then on, you can maybe ask yourself, do you have something to tell to that part? From that energy of compassion, of open-heartedness, and if that's not possible, maybe acceptance, of noticing, of maybe even like neutrality. Maybe you can tell the part, hey, I can see that you're here. I can see that you're really, really struggling. And I don't want to fix you. I don't want to do anything with you or to you. I'm just grateful that I found you. Because the pain that you carry, I'm carrying that pain as well. I can feel that pain resonating within me. I have so much empathy for you. Wow, thank you for being here. And maybe in the way I speak, you can already feel that I'm not giving the part any advice. I'm not saying, yeah, we should do something about that. I'm not saying you should feel this or that way. I'm not even, I'm not doing anything. It's really this leaning back and being like, yeah, I'm here. Like, in your own time, whatever you need, just tell me I'm here. I'm here to witness. And what is happening through that? We are starting to relate. And we're starting to relate from a place that this part doesn't know. Because what that part is used to is probably something like hostility, something like not being seen in that way, something like a cut from that relationship. So instead, I'm finding a part within me, I'm finding a place within me where I can say, I can accept that. I can just be with it. And when I say I'm being with it, then I mean being present in the room and being present in my body. If I take the tension that I just talked about here, very mild tension, but I know the tension in my neck. Can I just be here with it? Can I allow it to be here? Can I find a place within me where I have real compassion towards myself, towards that part? And how would that look like? For me, it would be like, oh, I can tell that you're really pulling. That must be so exhausting to be with that tension. And I know that you're carrying this tension almost every day. Wow. I'm seeing you. Oh, I can feel my jaw relaxing. Feel my neck relaxing slightly. Feel more present, even more than before. And I feel like a part returned home. Because shame and fear, when we're in it, it feels like our soul has no home to go to. It's homeless. It's roaming around, aimlessly in space. It's like the soul wants to descend down in the body, but it doesn't know where to go. Where am I going? Because here it's not safe. It's not safe here. So we need to provide a place for these parts where they can feel safe again. And this we do through a relationship, through being compassionate. And if you can't be compassionate, can you be compassionate towards the fact that you cannot be compassionate? How do you relate towards that? Yeah, it's a bit easier. Okay, can you Can you allow, like, how do you feel towards the fact that it's being a bit easier? Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay. Can you have compassion for that? Yeah. Okay. So you're tracing back the repression and the resistance that you have. You're tracing it back until you find that place where something opens. You're saying, I can be with that. And then you found what in internal family systems we call the self. The self is the part of you that, like, I describe it more like a place where all these exiled, where all these pain-bearing parts long to come home to. And they're looking for that self everywhere. They're looking for it in big adventures, in like business endeavors, in addictions, in relationships, in consumption, and all of these things. All of these compulsive behaviors are maybe just a desperate part that is longing for a home. So healing means providing a home for the parts of you that are homeless. Providing a home for your soul. Providing a home for the identity that you needed to cut off in order to survive. And even finding a home for the identity that took its place. Can you be compassionate and forgiving towards yourself? So this is a paradox that I'm talking about, because it means opening and relaxing into the tension. It means opening your heart towards your closed heart. It means being with that in you that cannot be right now, that just cannot accept, and accept that. And if you cannot accept that, then accept the fact that you can't. You know what I mean? So this is the trail that we walk that brings us home. And on this channel, I am happy to accompany you on this trail. In our trainings, we are like very intensely and with a lot of dedication, supporting you to walk that trail. In my one-on-one containers, I continuously have beautiful moments that move me to tears multiple times. Even this month, I think 2 or 3 times I was like deeply moved, because it's sacred. It's sacred to witness my clients in the moment where a part of them comes home. You can feel that deep, deep sigh of, I really needed that. And what is that they need? They didn't know. They were looking for it in people, consumptions, in retreats, and all of these things. But I believe that everything is here. Everything is already there. And to be able to guide people into that and to witness it is the most beautiful and purposeful thing for me. So with that being said, I'm thankful that you're supporting this channel, that you've watched this video and accompanied me on that little journey. I hope you enjoy the other videos that I posted. Now I'm doing like the whole standard YouTube kind of thing. All in all, I just want to be like connected with you. Like if this resonates with you, I want to accompany you on your journey. And if you feel the call, if you feel the resonance, then subscribe to my channel, leave a comment so we can get in a little interaction going, like the YouTube video, because that's what supports me most. And I'll see you in the next one. So thank you. Goodbye.